sure you've heard the media, politicians, and the prostitution abolitionists claim that there are annually between 100,000 and 300,000 children being trafficked into prostitution. You would be right to wonder if the number of alleged sex trafficking victims is a little exaggerated. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you where these claims are made and what the actual statistics are. You can find the links to all these documents on my website, policeprostitutionandpolitics.com. Most are in the section Operation Do the Math. Unlike the people who make these wild claims, I include all the original sources and their links because I want you to see for yourself. Do not take my word for it, and please don't take theirs either. Okay, so let's go to my website index page and find the link to the FBI document. This can be found on the front page of my site under Quick Links Government Reports. How many actual confirmed sex trafficking victims are there in the U.S.? Well, let's look at the source documents and see. First, we will look at the FBI table and then view the spreadsheet with the numbers added up. You can see on their page that the FBI lists the numbers by state, but doesn't add them up. In the spreadsheet I downloaded, I did add them up, and you can do the same. Just download the FBI Excel sheet using the link I provided, and then you can do the math. On my spreadsheet using the FBI Human Trafficking Report Table 1 for 2018, there were 488 confirmed sex trafficking victims, of which 18 were minors. And over a period of 5 years, from 2014 to 2018, there were a grand total of 1,958 confirmed cases of sex trafficking, of which 90 were minors. Not 90 a week, a day, a month, or even a year, but over 5 years. Is it possible to extrapolate from those numbers and come up with a figure like 100,000 to 300,000 every year? Let's see what the Crimes Against Children Research Center says about the sex trafficking of minors. In their document, How Many Juveniles Are Being Prostituted in the U.S., the document revised in November 2017, there are frequently cited statistics about the number of juveniles who are being prostituted or trafficked within the United States. The numbers 300,000 and 100,000 are widely used. A close look at these estimates, however, reveals that none are based on a scientific foundation. They are extrapolations or guesses based on questionable assumptions. They do not have the substance of typically reported crime statistics, such as the number of robberies or the number of child sexual abuse victims. The reality is, we do not currently know how many juveniles are being prostituted. The best estimates using scientific methods suggest much smaller numbers. But they do say they also might miss a considerable part of the problem. Now let's explore some of the other fallacies the abolitionists use in their quest to abolish all consensual adult commercial sex. I will cover the claimed average age of entry into prostitution issue again in a minute, but right now what is relevant is that prostitution abolitionists have claimed for years that the average age of entry into prostitution is between 12 and 14. And in other government material, it is also claimed that the average lifespan of a child prostitute is 7 years, which means that every year for those 7 years, there must be an additional 100,000 to 300,000 more children adding to the existing numbers, meaning that at any given time, there might be between 700,000 and 2,100,000 minors being sold for sex. And yet, all that can be found, all the law enforcement agents looking for them at a cost of hundreds of millions of dollars, is a measly 90 minors over 5 years. If the men who supposedly pay for the sexual services of children can find them, why can't the cops? Let's go back to the other impossible claim that the prostitution abolitionists make about the average age of entry into prostitution. Most are talking about all prostitutes, not just minors who are sex trafficked, and claim the average age is between 12 and 14. But is that possible? Looking at the arrests made of all males and females for prostitution from 1981 to 2018, It is clearly not possible for that to be any sort of average age. In this spreadsheet, listing all the arrests of males and females of all ages, again from 1981 to 2018, we see that there are a grand total of 56,743 minors, male and female, arrested during that period, out of 3,157,870 arrests. Of those, 19,516 were male juveniles and 37,218 were females. Putting all the numbers of arrests by age in a chart of the juveniles, there were more 16 and 17-year-olds arrested, and yes, police did arrest children under 10, which means that even the average age of entry for minors could not be 12 to 14, or there would have to be as many unborn fetuses trafficked as there were 16 and 17-year-olds for 12 to 14 to be an average. On the chart, the average number of arrests was for male and females between 25 and 29. There were more females arrested in their 50s and 60s than there were minors aged 12 to 16. In fact, over the years that I put these numbers together in my spreadsheets, minors accounted for about 1.80% of arrests, to the adult sex workers 98%. The Polaris Project used to use this number in their quest for donations, until they were shown the number of arrests through the years and how it could be impossible for that to be true. They have since changed their website and admitted that this was a myth. In fact, what they said was the myth in question of the average age of entry for girls into prostitution is 12 to 14 years old. Many people have used this controversial statistic. It is widely quoted by both policymakers and NGOs in an effort to bring attention to child sex trafficking. While we commend their intentions, the statistic itself may not, in fact, be true.